Welcome back to our channel, dear friends. I have been following this particular storyline so closely, and I just have to pour my heart out to you about what is currently unfolding between Jason Morgan and Britt Westbourne. My goodness. If you are anything like me, you have probably been holding your breath for months, eagerly waiting to see exactly where these two beloved characters would end up. We all felt that undeniable magnetic spark between them, that raw and genuine connection that made us root for them against all the incredible odds they faced. But as I look at the absolute latest updates and spoilers coming our way, I find myself feeling such a profound, heavy mix of sadness and deep understanding. It seems that the inevitable moment we have all been quietly fearing is finally here, and the beautiful, complicated chapter of Jibrit is officially coming to a heartbreaking close. I know it hurts to see them part ways, but the way this breakup is unfolding on our screens is just so deeply layered, respectful, and emotionally rich that I cannot help but be utterly captivated by every single detail of their final moments together as a couple. Let us take a moment to really talk about that incredible behind-the-scenes photograph recently featured in Soap Opera Digest, because it honestly paints 1,000 words and sets the stage for such a poignant farewell. Picture this vivid scene in your mind. A bright, sunny, open baseball field in Port Charles, a place that is traditionally filled with joyous laughter, loud cheering, and carefree community moments. Yet, right there on a simple, unassuming wooden bench, we see Jason and Britt sitting together, isolated from the noise, and the air around them feels so incredibly heavy with unspoken truths and impending sorrow. Britt is dressed in her classic General Hospital baseball uniform, looking as dedicated, strong, and beautiful as ever, representing the career that she has poured her soul into. Jason is sitting right beside her, but here is the specific detail that made my jaw absolutely drop to the floor in pure shock. Jason is wearing an ELQ baseball uniform. Yes, you heard me right. Not his signature black leather jacket, not a dark t-shirt, and certainly not a Corinthos coffee uniform, but a bright, undeniable ELQ uniform. Just looking at the physical posture and facial expressions of these two incredible characters in that moment breaks my heart in the most beautiful, human way possible. You can see it so clearly in Jason's face. He is absolutely not there to make idle small talk or pass the time. His expression is incredibly serious, carrying the heavy weight of the world on his broad shoulders, yet there is such a profound, unmistakable kindness shining through his eyes. He is looking at Britt not as a passing fling or a mistake, but as a remarkable woman he truly respects, admires, and cares for on a very deep level. He wants to make absolutely sure she understands that this painful separation is not because she lacks anything or because he does not care for her deeply. It is simply about the vastly different paths their lives must take right now. And Britt, bless her sweet heart, is looking back at him so intently, hanging onto his every word. She is listening with that quiet, dignified strength she has always possessed, bracing herself for the bad news she knows is coming. I honestly believe, deep down in my soul, that Britt is not entirely surprised by this heartbreaking turn of events. Women just have that sharp, undeniable intuition, do they not? When Jason finally made his long-awaited, highly anticipated return to Port Charles, Britt was not the very first person he desperately sought out. That one little detail spoke absolute volumes to anyone paying attention. She was just going about her normal day, working her demanding shift at the hospital, when he simply happened to cross her path by chance. Deep down, I truly think Britt knew in that exact, fleeting moment that the ground beneath them had shifted permanently. She knew that the man standing in front of her had changed during his absence, and that the passionate, fiery romance they once shared was slowly slipping through her fingers. It is such a painful realization for any woman to face, but Britt is a fierce survivor, and she is handling this incredibly vulnerable moment with such immense grace, maturity, and dignity. Now, I really need to take a long moment to talk about the sheer significance of that ELQ uniform, because for longtime dedicated viewers like us, this is an absolute earthquake of a character revelation. Seeing Jason Morgan willingly put on anything representing the wealthy Quartermain family business is something I honestly thought I might never, ever see in my lifetime of watching this show. We all remember the tragic, heartbreaking history, do we not? We vividly remember that horrific, life-altering car accident, the severe traumatic brain injury that completely and utterly erased the golden boy, Jason Quartermain. We watched in tears as he aggressively pushed away Alan and Monica, completely rejecting their immense wealth, their privileged lifestyle, and their very name. He wanted absolutely nothing to do with the Quartermain legacy, choosing instead to forge his own dark, dangerous path. For decades, the only person in that massive, sprawling Quartermain mansion who could truly reach his fractured soul was his sweet, gentle, fiercely loving grandmother, Lila Morgan Quartermain. Oh, how I absolutely loved and adored Lila. She accepted Jason exactly as he was, without any harsh judgment, expectations, or demands to change him back to who he used to be. That unconditional love is the entire reason he proudly chose the name Jason Morgan, dropping the Quartermain surname completely to honor her. So, to see him now, all these years later, sitting calmly on a baseball bench, wearing the bold letters ELQ across his chest, it feels like a monumental, deeply spiritual healing of a generational family wound. It tells me that Jason is finally, truly ready to embrace the family he ran from for so long, and that he is consciously choosing to step up and honor the enduring legacy of his mother, Monica. It is a beautiful, full-circle moment that genuinely brings warm tears to my eyes. Of course, there is a very practical, grounded reason for this massive, sudden shift in Jason's professional life, and it ties directly into the dangerous chaos currently happening in the Port Charles underworld. We all know that Corinthos Coffee has been the reliable, sturdy front for Sonny's complex operations for many years. But right now, Sonny Corinthos has completely lost his iron grip on the crucial docks and the main warehouse. That ruthless, cunning Jens Sidwell has swooped in and aggressively taken control of those precious, highly contested assets. Until Sonny can manage to somehow buy them back, if he even can, considering the fierce, high-stakes bidding war currently raging with Valentin Cassadine and Drew Kane Corinthos Coffee is essentially non-existent. The mighty mob empire has crumbled, at least temporarily, leaving a massive void in the lives of everyone involved. But I genuinely think this devastating business loss is actually a brilliant blessing in disguise for Jason Morgan. It is providing him with the absolute perfect, undeniable opportunity to make a clean, decisive break from his violent past. This truly is a new day, a profoundly new Jason, and a completely fresh, optimistic beginning. For years, Jason has been the fiercely loyal enforcer, the stoic man who would willingly take a bullet for Sonny without a single second thought. He has lived his entire adult life in the dark shadows, constantly surrounded by danger, violence, and the ever-present threat of prison or death. But stepping away from the mob life right now is not just about changing his daily job. It is about fundamentally changing his entire identity to protect the innocent people he loves most in this world. And that profound realization brings us directly to the absolute core of Jason's heartbreaking decision, the real, undeniable reason he is sitting on that bench breaking Britt's heart. It is all about his precious son, Danny Morgan. My heart just swells with so much emotion when I think about how fiercely and deeply Jason loves that growing boy. For so much of Danny's young life, Jason has tragically been absent. He has been presumed dead, forced on the run, or too deeply entrenched in terrifying mob violence to be the present, reliable father Danny truly needed and deserved. Jason acutely realizes that he cannot magically get those lost, precious years back, but he knows he can absolutely control what happens from this day forward. He is making the conscious, incredibly mature, and selfless choice to dedicate every single ounce of his focus, energy, and love to making up for lost time with Danny. When a man makes a solemn, life-altering commitment like that to his child, there is simply no emotional room left for the wonderful but demanding complexities of a new romance. Jason knows he cannot give Britt the time, the undivided attention, or the deep emotional availability she so richly deserves, and he respects her far too much to selfishly string her along. He knows that being a true father to Danny requires him to be physically present, to be entirely safe, and to be a steady, unwavering figure in the boy's life. He cannot do that if he is busy fighting dangerous mob wars in the dead of night, and he certainly cannot do that if his heart and time are divided. He is choosing his son above all else. And honestly, as a mother and a grandmother who knows the value of family, I cannot help but deeply, profoundly admire him for making that incredibly difficult choice. The truly beautiful, poetic tragedy of this entire breakup scene is that Britt completely and thoroughly understands his reasoning without him having to explain it 1,000 times. She is not going to throw a bitter tantrum, cause a dramatic scene, or desperately beg him to stay because she knows exactly what it means to put an innocent child first. Britt has been pouring her own heart, soul, and endless love into raising her sweet adopted son, Rocco Falconeri. She knows firsthand the fierce, overwhelming, protective love that a dedicated parent feels every single day. When Jason looks her directly in the eye and gently tells her that Danny absolutely has to be his entire world right now, Britt's own powerful motherly instincts immediately recognize the undeniable truth in his words. They are two devoted parents sitting quietly on a baseball bench, mutually acknowledging that their beloved children must take absolute precedence over their own personal romantic desires. It is just so incredibly bittersweet and moving. But please, my dear friends, do not despair for our lovely, resilient Britt. As one emotional door gently closes, another exciting one is already preparing to swing wide open for her. The latest summer spoilers have given us a truly delightful little breadcrumb of hope, and I am so incredibly excited to share that Britt is not going to be sitting around nursing a broken heart for very long. It looks like a brand new, highly anticipated romance is glowing right on the horizon for her with the incredibly handsome, charming Tristan Roberts. I am absolutely thrilled beyond words about this wonderful development. Britt has been through so much emotional turmoil, so much profound heartache, and she truly, deeply deserves a good man who can step up and make her his undisputed, absolute #1 priority. I firmly believe that Tristan might just be the exact breath of fresh, exciting air she so desperately needs right now.